So I'm here at Higherview getting ready to interview David Bradford. Now, what just had to show you that view out his office window. Isn't that fantastic? Hi, this is Jason Izatt, and I'm here today with David Bradford. We are here at the Higherview offices in South Jordan, and thankfully, David has agreed to spend a little time talking about his book, Up Your Game, 6 Timeless Principles for Networking Your Way to the Top. And if anyone has worked their way to the top through networking, it is this man, David Bradford. David, thank you for your time and allowing me to come up here and be with you today.
Jason, it's an honor to be with you. Thank you. And thank you for your enthusiasm on my book. It's been a labor of love, really.
Well, great. And that's actually one thing I wanted to draw out of you is what motivated the book. You've had a fantastic career so far today, probably much more to come, and you take time out of that schedule to write something that benefits so many other people and probably did nothing to, not much to add percentage-wise to what your career already entailed.
Well, listen, it was a lot of fun, and I gotta say that the thing that I believe is that people mean everything to any organization or any successful endeavor. I'm fond of quoting my 60-30-10 rule, that 60% of any success that you're going to have is based on people. It's not based on technology. 30% certainly is technologically based or skill set based or domain expertise, but 60% is who you surround yourself with. 30% your technological know-how or skill sets, and then 10% is dumb luck. And so I felt like that, and I felt like I wanted to share that information with the rest of the world. By the way, that 60-30-10 rule is not in the book. That's a separate theory I've developed over time.
I remember you mentioning that at the luncheon last week, and I made sure I got that right down in my notes. That was great.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, I wanted to share with the world the fact that you can connect with people. That networking is not a 4-letter word. Networking it takes hard commitment, time, and effort, but it's well worth the effort that you put into it.
I like that you said also at the luncheon that it is network.
Right.
It's not net goofing off.
Right.
Or net trying a little.
Right. Right. You got to set aside time every day to do this. And the thing that I like to dispel the notion, people hear the word network and sometimes, oh, you're trying to get something from somebody else.
Right.
But the first principle that I point out is as you start up your network, the first thing that you should be thinking about is how can you benefit the life of somebody else. As you think about other people first, there's something called the law of reciprocity in the universe that comes into play. And as people do nice things for one another, they'll have an intuitive desire to give back.
Now, did these principles that you write about and have applied in your career, did they kind of seem to come to you naturally, or did you have some mentors that taught you in networking? How did they come to be part of your professional makeup?
Well, it's funny. No one's ever asked me that question in that sort of a way. My mother was naturally outgoing and gregarious. And so I suppose I picked up a little DNA spark of outgoingness from that. But I'm fond of telling people that anybody listening to this can be a great networker. All you've got to do is have one characteristic, and that's the C characteristic, which is to be curious. You're being naturally curious today, Jason. This conversation is just flowing because you're curious about certain things that have transpired in my life. People love talking about themselves. You ask me questions, I love to talk about my career and all of the things that has transpired. But you started it by simply being curious and asking questions. As you do that, you and I find areas of commonality, right? We talked earlier about the book publishing industry. You had a little piece of it, I had a little piece of it. That forms an area of commonality.
Right.
When that commonality forms, then trust begins to develop. And as trust develops, then relationships form and business can get done.
I think a big piece of that is approachability, being down to earth, that's something, you know, you and I first met 4 years ago, and that really struck me. I thought, here is someone who could probably walk into any office in the country, and he comes and has just a down-to-earth conversation with me, a little entrepreneurial startup guy. And that's the other question that I really wanted to hit you, is say, with all of your success and with all of the amazing people that you have worked with, and you even recruited Steve Wozniak to come work with you at Fusion.io,
Right.
How do you keep yourself grounded?
Oh my gosh, listen, I came from really humble beginnings. When I think about growing up, my junior high and high school years, I lived in a little town in Montana called Red Lodge.
Okay.
I was probably the least connected person in the universe. We had 7 brothers and sisters living in this small home in Red Lodge, and I lived in the basement. And my job every day was to take the coal clinkers out of the coal stove, and I'd get them out and so forth. And it was a dreary, you know, kind of depressing place, really, when I think back on it. But somehow I made it work. And so, you know, I've never thought of myself as something, having done something special or something. You yourself has a much deeper technology knowledge than I do. You have a master's degree in computer science.
Right.
I don't have anything of the sort. Now, I have been in the computer industry since 1980, and so I've learned a few things over the years.
Sure.
But, you know, I just come from very humble beginnings, and I don't know, frankly, any other way to act. So,
well, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Before we close up, I wanted to ask you also about your wife's project, View.
Sure.
You mentioned that 4 years ago when things were getting rolling.
Just getting started back then.
Where are we now? Where is she done with this now?
We're doing some really fun things. My wife has developed a 3D application called The View, Virtual Immersive Educational Worlds. And now we are using it for language training. In fact, if you'll indulge me for just a second,
Absolutely.
I'll pull up the app and we can actually take a look at it while we're doing this interview. So the app is called Fluent Worlds, and it is a way to walk through a 3D virtual environment. You can see the first screen there, where someone can actually live a language in a place where they might journey to. So, welcome to Fluent Worlds. Let's travel to fun 3D places to learn English. So this one is built specifically for teaching native Spanish speakers how to speak English as a second language.
Okay.
And so we select the course, male, female, intermediate, beginner, whatever it might be, and then a series of adventures load into the game. And so now it's like playing any video game. I'm going to click on this, and so this is going to take me to a park setting. So here's New York Central Park. So imagine you being a 3D avatar walking through a park setting, encountering a series of other avatars in the game where you exchange information. So we have restaurant scenes, we have airport scenes. You can hear the little sound now of Central Park. And here's my avatar. And so I'm going to, let's see here. And so this launches later this summer. And so...
okay, so this is not currently in the App Store.
No, it is not currently in the App Store. We have other stuff in the App Store that Linda's built in 3D. But this one in particular will allow us to travel through, and we start with kind of a fun game and so forth.
And what's the projected price?
The projected price is about $3.95 a month.
Okay.
So this is kind of a fun game.
Orange. Pants.
And will this be on both iOS and Android, or just starting with iOS?
It's both.
Both.
We're going to launch
Excellent.
initially on both.
Excellent.
Orange.
Okay, so sorry to take so much time on this, but since you asked,
Absolutely.
Lisa.
Nice to meet you.
Let's listen to people meet.
Okay.
So, anyway, then
Let's
you can,
listen to people meet.
and we'll close out the app right now. But that's what we're doing. So
Fantastic.
imagine the 250 million people that are studying Chinese or English as a second language in China right now. In China alone, 250 million people. You know, they go to schools, they go to physical locations, etc. They'll go online, they'll buy a Rosetta Stone or whatnot. Well, why not just have it all in one app on your phone, where you can actually journey to New York or Las Vegas or some other places? Imagine learning French walking through the virtual streets of the Champs-Élysées. So,
Oh, very cool.
yeah. So we're having some fun with that. So thanks for
Excellent.
asking.
Well, if you'll let me know in a few months when it goes live on the store, I'll add some of those links to this video post.
Perfect.
So those of you that are watching this after August, September 2015,
Yeah, I hope.
hopefully we'll have some links down below where you can head off to the App Store for that.
Yeah.
And that's what was the name of the app again?
It's called Fluent Worlds.
Fluent Worlds.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
great.
want to create all these worlds where fluency, you know, becomes part and parcel. You know, it's interesting to me that English is becoming a must-have today. It's not just a nice-to-have. It's the language of business,
Right.
Globally, whoever you are. So that's why you have, you know, people in Brazil and Korea, et cetera. They're studying English, but it's a necessary thing to have. And so we wanted to give them a tool, a game that's immersive and something that they would enjoy doing, so it would become sticky. Right?
Right.
Because people, you know, over 50% of all the Rosetta Stone boxes ever sold, those yellow boxes,
Right.
over 50% were never opened. Never opened.
Wow.
Right. So we wanted to make an immersive 3D language training world where people would immerse themselves and feel compelled to go back. You know, we gamified it. You earn diamonds, you earn all this stuff. So it's fun stuff.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, David, very much for this. This is great. I'm excited. Again, check out Up Your Game, 6 Timeless Principles for Networking Your Way to the Top.
Right.
Author David Bradford. I'm going to put some links below that will show where you can get this in print and in the Kindle edition.
Right. Well, it's a fun book, and I think you'll enjoy learning about those 6 timeless principles. This book I wrote so that if we pick it up 30 years from now, it'll still be relevant to what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank you,
Jason.
David.